r/AITA MIL used me as free childcare until I exposed her Christmas lies. I'm staring at my phone screen, reading the text message for the 5th time, and I think I might actually throw up. Asterisk, thanks again for watching Emma and Tyler today. You're such a lifesaver. Here's your payment, $120 for the week. Asterisk. The message isn't to me. It's to my mother-in-law Sandra, from her friend Lisa. But Sandra accidentally sent me a screenshot instead of whatever manipulative garbage she was probably planning to forward to someone else. $120. For watching Lisa's kids. The same kids I've been watching every single day for the past 3 months. My hands are shaking as I scroll up through our text history. 3 months of Sandra calling me, voice dripping with fake sweetness. Oh honey, I promised Lisa I'd help with Emma and Tyler, but my back is acting up. You don't mind having them over for a few hours, do you? They play so well with Madison and Jake. A few hours that turned into 8-hour days. Every weekday. Sometimes weekends. I've been getting up at 6 a.m. to prepare breakfast for 4 kids instead of 2. I've been buying extra groceries, extra juice boxes, extra everything. I've been breaking up fights, wiping noses, and dealing with Tyler's tantrums when he doesn't get his way. Emma still wets herself occasionally, so I've been washing extra laundry and cleaning up accidents. And Sandra has been getting paid for it. While telling everyone in the family that I'm a terrible mother who dumps my kids on her constantly. I found out about that part last week at my sister-in-law Jenny's birthday party. I was in the bathroom when I overheard Sandra talking to my husband's Aunt Patricia. I just worry about those poor babies, Sandra was saying, her voice heavy with fake concern. Sarah she's not adjusting well to being home with them. She's always calling me, begging me to take Madison and Jake. Sometimes she just shows up at my door and leaves them for hours without even asking. My blood went cold. I haven't dropped my kids at Sandra's house once in the past 6 months. Not once. That's terrible, Patricia replied. Those children need stability. I don't like to speak badly of family, but... Sandra paused dramatically. I think she might be struggling with some kind of mental issue. Depression, maybe. She seems so overwhelmed all the time. I'm overwhelmed because I'm watching 4 children under the age of 7 every single day while you collect payment for work I'm doing. But I couldn't say that. Because I didn't know about the payment then. I just knew Sandra was lying about me, and I had no proof. Now I have proof. I screenshot Lisa's message before Sandra can realize her mistake and delete it. Then I start scrolling through my phone, looking for more evidence. Photos I've taken of all 4 kids during playdates that were actually paid childcare. Receipts for extra groceries. Text messages from Sandra asking me to watch the kids with convenient excuses about why she couldn't. My husband David is going to be home in an hour. He's going to tell me I'm overreacting, just like he did when I tried to explain what I overheard at Jenny's party. Mom wouldn't say those things about you, Sarah. You must have misunderstood. But there's no misunderstanding a payment notification. Christmas is in 10 days. The whole family will be at Sandra's house, including Patricia and everyone else who thinks I'm an unfit mother who abandons her children. I think it's time they learned the truth about who's really been taking care of whom. The front door slams and I can hear David's keys hitting the kitchen counter. My heart hammers against my ribs as I clutch my phone, the screenshot still glowing on the screen like evidence of a crime. Sarah? Why are there juice boxes all over the counter? David calls out. And whose backpack is this? Shit. Emma's backpack. Lisa was supposed to pick up the kids an hour ago, but she texted saying she was running late. Another text that went to me directly, not Sandra. Because I'm the one actually watching her children. Emma forgot her bag, I call back, trying to keep my voice steady. Lisa's coming back for it. David appears in the doorway of our bedroom, loosening his tie. He looks tired, and I can see the grease stain on his shirt from whatever he grabbed for lunch. My husband works 60-hour weeks as a project manager, and the last thing he wants to deal with when he gets home is what he calls my drama with Mom. But this isn't drama. This is theft. This is fraud. This is 3 months of my life being stolen while Sandra destroys my reputation one lie at a time. How many kids did you have today? He asks, and there's something in his tone that makes my stomach drop. The usual. Madison, Jake, Emma, and Tyler. So 4 kids. Again. He sits heavily on our bed, and I notice he won't quite meet my eyes. Sarah, I got a weird call from my mom today. Of course he did. My hands tighten around my phone. She's worried about you. She thinks you might be struggling with the kids being home all the time. David finally looks at me, and his expression is gentle but concerned. The same look he gave me when I had postpartum depression after Jake was born. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Because if you need help, we can figure something out. Maybe daycare, or... I don't need daycare, I interrupt, heat flooding my cheeks. David, your mother is. She said you've been asking her to babysit almost every day. That sometimes you just drop the kids off without warning. His voice is careful, like he's talking to someone fragile. Someone unstable. And I know being home with them is hard, but if it's affecting you this much... I haven't dropped our kids off with Sandra once. The words explode out of me louder than I intended. Not once. I'm not the one asking for help, she's the one asking me for help. Every single day. David blinks, taken aback by my vehemence. Okay, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. I thrust my phone toward him. Look at this. Just look. He takes the phone reluctantly, squinting at the screenshot. I watch his face as he reads Lisa's message, sees the payment amount, the date stamp. His brow furrows. I don't understand. Why is Lisa paying Mom? Because your mother has been telling her friends that she's been watching their kids. She's been collecting money for childcare that I've been providing while telling your entire family that I'm an unfit mother who abandons her children with her. The words hang in the air between us. David stares at the phone for a long moment, then back at me. That doesn't make sense. Why would she do that? Because she's manipulative. Because she hates that I exist. Because she's never forgiven David for choosing me over her perfect vision of his life. But before I can answer, my phone buzzes with a new message. From Sandra. Asterisk, please delete that last message. It was sent by mistake. We'll discuss this later. Asterisk. Too late. I already have everything I need. I showed David the new message from his mother, and I watched something shift in his expression. The confusion is still there, but now there's something else, a flicker of doubt that wasn't there before. She wants me to delete the evidence, I say quietly. Why would she want me to delete it if there's an innocent explanation? David sets the phone down on our dresser like it might explode. He runs both hands through his hair, a gesture I recognize from when he's trying to process something that doesn't fit his worldview. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. David. I sit down next to him on the bed. Your mother has been telling people I'm a bad mom while I've been providing free childcare that she's getting paid for. What part of that sounds like a misunderstanding? Before he can answer, my phone rings. Sandra's contact photo fills the screen, that perfectly posed family portrait from last Christmas where she managed to position herself between David and me. Don't answer it, David says quickly. But I'm already swiping to accept. Hi, Sandra. Sarah, sweetheart, there's been a little mix-up with my phone today. Her voice has that syrupy quality she uses when she's trying to manage a situation. I accidentally sent you something that was meant for someone else. You mean the payment from Lisa for watching Emma and Tyler? Silence. Then, I think we should talk about this in person. Why don't you and David come over for dinner tonight? I'll make that casserole you like. I don't like her casserole. I've never liked her casserole. But she always acts like my preferences are just another thing I'm confused about. I don't think dinner is necessary, I say. I just want to understand why Lisa is paying you for childcare I've been providing. It's complicated, dear. Lisa asked me to coordinate care for the children, and I've been helping arrange. Arrange? My voice pitches higher. Sandra, I've been watching those kids for 8 hours a day. I've been feeding them, changing Emma's accidents, dealing with Tyler's meltdowns. What exactly have you been arranging? David is staring at me with wide eyes. This is the first time he's hearing the details, the daily reality of what I've been dealing with. Sarah, you're getting yourself worked up over nothing. The children have playdates, and yes, sometimes Lisa gives me a little something to cover expenses. $120 a week isn't covering expenses. It's payment for full-time childcare. Another pause. When Sandra speaks again, her voice has lost some of its sweetness. I don't appreciate your tone, young lady. I've been helping you by giving your children friends to play with, keeping you busy so you don't get too isolated. Some mothers appreciate. Some mothers? I'm standing now, pacing. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, dear. I just think new mothers sometimes need structure. Routine. Something to get them out of their own heads. David makes a sharp sound, almost like he's been punched. Mom, what are you saying? I'm saying I've been worried about Sarah. The way she's been, clingy. Needy. Always wanting help with the children but then getting upset when I suggest she might benefit from some time apart from them. I feel like I'm in an alternate universe. When have I ever asked you for help? When have I ever been clingy or needy? Sarah, sweetheart, I understand that being home can be overwhelming, but denial isn't healthy. Ask David, he's told me how stressed you've been. My blood turns to ice. I look at David, who has gone completely pale. David? My voice comes out as a whisper. What did you tell her? His mouth opens and closes like a fish. Sarah, you seemed overwhelmed sometimes, and I thought maybe if Mom knew. You've been talking to your mother about me? About our marriage? About how I am with our kids? The trap is so much bigger than I realized. David, what exactly did you tell her? My voice is barely controlled, each word carved from ice. He's looking anywhere but at me, the ceiling, his hands, the family photo on our dresser where Sandra somehow managed to center herself again. Sarah, it wasn't. I was just worried about you. After Jake was born, you had such a hard time, and when you seemed stressed again. What did you tell her? Just that you were having trouble adjusting to being home full-time. That you seemed lonely, maybe a little fragile. I thought if she understood what you were going through, she might be more patient with you. The room spins. Every conversation, every interaction, every perfectly orchestrated favor Sandra asked of me suddenly clicks into place like pieces of a horrifying puzzle. You told your mother I was fragile, I repeat slowly. So she decided to what, test that theory? See how much she could pile onto the unstable daughter-in-law before I cracked. That's not, Sarah, you're twisting this. Am I? I snatch my phone back. Sandra's still on the line, and I can practically hear her smug satisfaction through the speaker. Sandra, how long have you been planning this? Planning what, dear? I don't know what you mean. But I can hear it now, the calculation behind every sugary word. You heard David was worried about me, so you saw an opportunity. Get me to watch your friends' kids, collect the money, and if I ever complained about being overwhelmed, well, everyone already knew I was struggling, right? Perfect setup. Sarah, I think you need to take a step back and breathe. And the lies about me dropping my kids off with you? That was just insurance, wasn't it? In case anyone started wondering why I always seemed so busy. You could just tell them I was the one always asking for help. David is staring at me like he's never seen me before. Sarah, this sounds paranoid. Paranoid? I whirl on him. Your mother has been running a childcare scam using our house and making me the unpaid labor, all while destroying my reputation with your family. And when I present you with actual evidence, you call me paranoid? My phone buzzes with a text. Then another. I glance down and my blood turns to lead. 3 messages from different numbers I don't recognize. Asterisk hi Sarah, this is Janet, Patricia's friend. Patricia mentioned you might need some help with your children during the holidays. I know a wonderful therapist who specializes in postpartum issues. Asterisk. Asterisk Sarah, this is your neighbor Mike from 2 houses down. Sandra asked me to keep an eye out for you and the kids. Everything okay over there? Asterisk. Asterisk hey girl, this is Stephanie from David's work. He mentioned you've been having a tough time. Want to grab coffee sometime? Sometimes it helps to talk. Asterisk. The phone slips from my numb fingers and clatters to the floor. Oh my god. The words come out as a whisper. David, how many people have you told? His face answers before his mouth does. Too many. He's told too many people that his wife is unstable, struggling, fragile. I was trying to build a support network for you. I thought. You thought you'd let everyone know your wife is crazy so they could all watch for warning signs? That's not what I. Sandra. I pick up the phone. She's still there, waiting. Listening to her son and daughter-in-law tear each other apart with the seeds she's been planting for months. How does it feel? Listening to your plan work perfectly? Sarah, dear, I think you should really consider talking to someone professional. This paranoia, these accusations, it's not healthy for the children to see their mother this way. The children. She's threatening me with my own children now. The children who I've been caring for while you profit off my work. The children who need a stable mother. David, I think you need to seriously consider what's best for Madison and Jake. And there it is. The end game. The silence that follows Sandra's words is deafening. David's face goes completely white, and I can see the exact moment he realizes what his mother just implied. Mom, his voice is barely audible. What are you saying? I'm saying that children need stability, David. And if Sarah is having some kind of breakdown. I'm not having a breakdown. I grab the phone. I'm having a completely rational response to being exploited and lied about. But even as I say it, I can hear how I sound. Shrill. Desperate. Exactly like someone having a breakdown would sound. Sarah, sweetheart, Sandra's voice drips with false concern. I think you should sit down. Take some deep breaths. You're getting very worked up over a simple misunderstanding. David, I turn to my husband, pleading. You see what she's doing, right? She's making me sound crazy for having evidence of what she's been doing. But David looks torn, confused, like he's watching two different movies and can't figure out which one is real. Sarah, maybe we should all just calm down and... There's nothing to calm down about. My voice cracks. I have proof, David. Screenshots, receipts, witnesses. Witnesses to what, dear? Sandra interrupts smoothly. To you graciously hosting playdates for the children? To me helping coordinate schedules for busy mothers? I'm sure Lisa would be happy to explain that she gives me a little something to cover the extra groceries and activities. My stomach drops. Of course. Lisa doesn't know I'm the one actually watching her kids. Sandra's been the point of contact this whole time. If anyone asks, Lisa will say she's been paying Sandra for childcare because that's what she thinks has been happening. You've covered your tracks, I whisper. I don't know what you mean, Sarah. I've simply been helping my son's family while his wife adjusts to her new circumstances. David's phone starts buzzing. Then mine. Then his again. I glance at the screen and see a group text thread I've never seen before, David Support Network. The messages are pouring in. Asterisk just heard from Sandra. How is Sarah doing? Asterisk. Asterisk, is there anything we can do to help with the kids? Asterisk. Asterisk, Patricia mentioned there might be some concerning behavior. Should we be worried? Asterisk. Asterisk, David, call me when you can. Mom filled me in. We're here for you. Asterisk. That last one is from Jenny, David's sister. My sister-in-law, who I thought actually liked me. David, my voice is shaking now. Please tell me you didn't create a group chat to discuss my mental health with your entire family. He won't meet my eyes. Sarah, it wasn't like that. After Jake was born, when you were struggling, Mom suggested having people who could check in, help out if needed. That was 2 years ago. The postpartum depression feels like a lifetime ago. I got help, I got better, I've been fine. But then you started seeming overwhelmed again, and with all the kids coming over. The kids your mother asked me to watch. My phone buzzes with a new message. This one makes my blood freeze. It's from my own mother, asterisk honey, Sandra called me. She's worried about you and thinks maybe you should come stay with me for a few days. Just until things settle down. I can drive up tomorrow. Asterisk. She called my mother, I breathe. Sandra, you called my mother? I called David's mother-in-law because I'm concerned about her daughter and my grandchildren's well-being. Sometimes families need to come together during difficult times. David's face has gone ashen. Even he seems to be realizing how calculated this all is. Mom, you can't just... David, I've watched Sarah spiral for months. The isolation, the paranoia, these wild accusations. And now she's having what appears to be a complete break from reality. Someone needs to think about Madison and Jake. I am thinking about Madison and Jake. I'm shouting now, which only makes me sound more unstable. Everything I've done has been for my children. Including neglecting their emotional needs while you obsess over imaginary slights? The trap is perfect. Every reaction I have makes me look crazier. Every piece of evidence I present can be explained away. And now both our families think I'm having a mental health crisis. Sandra has won. The house feels like it's closing in on me. David is still staring at his phone, scrolling through what I assume are dozens more messages about his unstable wife. Sandra's voice continues pouring poison through the speaker, but I can barely hear her over the roar of blood in my ears. Then I hear the front door open. Hello? Sarah? It's my mother's voice, breathless like she's been running. Sandra said it was urgent. I checked the time on my phone. It's been 20 minutes since Sandra called her. 20 minutes, and my mother drove 45 minutes across town to get here. Mom? I call out weakly. I thought you were coming tomorrow. I was already in the car when you answered, Sandra says smugly through the phone. I called her an hour ago, right after I realized my mistake with that text message. I was worried about how you might react. An hour ago. She's been planning this intervention since the moment she realized I had proof. My mother appears in the bedroom doorway, her face creased with worry and something else, fear. She takes in the scene, David slumped on the bed looking shell-shocked, me standing in the middle of the room clutching my phone like a weapon, the general air of crisis. Oh, honey, she says softly, and her voice has that same careful tone David used earlier. The tone you use with broken people. Sandra explained what's been happening. Why don't you come sit down? Mom, please don't. I backed toward the window. Sandra has been lying. About the babysitting, yes, she told me. Mom takes a step closer, hands raised like she's approaching a spooked animal. She said you've been getting confused about who's watching which children when. It's okay, Sarah. Sometimes when we're overwhelmed. She's getting paid. I thrust my phone toward her. Look at the screenshot. Mom glances at the phone, then at David, then back at me with infinite patience. Sandra explained about the grocery money. She said sometimes the details get mixed up in your head. Grocery money. Of course that's how Sandra spun it. Mom, it's $120 a week. That's not grocery money. For 4 children? Honey, that barely covers snacks. She's moving closer, and I realize she's trying to get between me and the door. Sandra's been helping cover the extra costs of having playdates every day. She didn't want you to worry about the money. The gaslighting is so complete, so perfect, that for a moment I almost believe it myself. Maybe I am confused. Maybe I am seeing conspiracies where there are none. Then my phone buzzes with another text from Lisa. Sandra, can you have the kids ready by 6? Traffic is terrible and I need to get Tyler to soccer practice. I show the message to my mother. If Sandra's just helping with grocery money, why is Lisa texting her about pickup times? Why does Lisa think Sandra is the one watching her kids? Mom reads the message, and I see a flicker of confusion cross her face. Maybe Sandra coordinates the schedules. No. David's voice cuts through the room. He's been quiet for the past few minutes, but now he's standing up, his face hard. Sarah, give me your phone. What? Give me your phone. I want to see all the messages. I hand it over, hope blooming in my chest. Finally, he's going to look at the evidence. Really look at it. He scrolls through my text history with Sandra, months of requests to watch the kids, always with some excuse about why she can't do it herself. Then he opens my Photos app and starts going through pictures. 4 kids at our kitchen table. 4 kids in our backyard. 4 kids watching movies in our living room. Sarah, he says slowly, why do you have so many pictures of Emma and Tyler? And why? He stops, staring at one photo. Why are they in Madison's old high chair? This picture is from last month, but Madison outgrew that chair a year ago. My mother leans over to look. In the photo, Tyler is sitting in the high chair eating lunch, while the other 3 kids are at the kitchen table. It's clearly my kitchen, you can see the distinctive blue backsplash David and I picked out last year. Sandra, David says into the phone, his voice deadly quiet. Where exactly have Emma and Tyler been spending their days? The silence on the other end of the phone stretches so long I wonder if Sandra hung up. When she finally speaks, her voice has lost all its syrupy sweetness. David, I think you're getting caught up in Sarah's confusion. Answer the question, Mom. Where have the kids been? Well, obviously they've been at Sarah's house during the day, but I've been supervising. Supervising from where? David's voice is getting louder. Your house is 20 minutes away. Have you been coming over here every day? I watch my husband's face as the pieces finally click together. The same expression he had when he figured out his business partner was embezzling, cold calculation replacing confusion. Sarah has my phone number, Sandra tries desperately. If there were any emergencies. That's not supervising, that's being on call. He looks at me, then at my mother, then back at the phone. Mom, have you been collecting money for childcare that Sarah has been providing? David, you're not thinking clearly. Sarah has been struggling, and I was trying to help by creating structure. Have you been collecting money? His voice cuts through her deflection like a blade. Another long pause. Lisa insisted on contributing to expenses. I told her it wasn't necessary, but she felt better knowing she was helping cover costs. And where did you tell Lisa the kids were spending their time? I hold my breath. This is it. The question that unravels everything. I may have let her assume they were primarily at my house, but... You may have let her assume? David's face is turning red. Mom, that's fraud. Don't be dramatic, David. It's a misunderstanding between friends. A misunderstanding that's been going on for 3 months. A misunderstanding that involves you accepting payment for services you're not providing? He's pacing now, the same tight circles he makes when he's trying not to explode. And what about telling everyone Sarah dumps the kids on you? Was that also just a misunderstanding? My mother is looking between the phone and David like she's watching a tennis match. The confusion on her face is giving way to something else, concern, but not for me anymore. Sandra, my mother says carefully, you told me Sarah was bringing her children to your house every day. I never said that exactly. Yes, you did. Mom's voice is getting firmer. You said Sarah was overwhelming you with constant requests to babysit Madison and Jake. You said she was showing up at your door unannounced. Those may have been slight exaggerations to help David understand the situation. Exaggerations? I find my voice again. You told Patricia I might have mental health issues. You had David create a support network to monitor me. You called my mother for an intervention. Those aren't exaggerations, Sandra, they're lies. Sarah, you're still not seeing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that you saw an opportunity to make money off me while destroying my reputation as a backup plan, I say. And you almost succeeded. David stops pacing. What do you mean, backup plan? The final piece clicks into place, and I feel sick. She wanted me to fail, David. If I complained about being overwhelmed, everyone would say, of course, Sandra warned us she was struggling. If I couldn't handle 4 kids every day while she collected payment, it would prove I was unstable. And if I ever figured out what was happening and tried to expose her, you'd sound paranoid and delusional, Mom finishes quietly. Because she'd already laid the groundwork for everyone to believe you were having a breakdown. That's not, I would never. Sandra's voice is getting higher, more desperate. David, you know I love you and the children. I was trying to help. Help yourself to $120 a week, David snaps. While my wife provided free labor and you destroyed her reputation with our entire family. My phone buzzes with another message, this one in the David Support Network group chat. Asterisk just drove by their house. Sarah's mom is there now. Think we should come over? Asterisk. David, I say softly, your family is planning to stage an intervention. Right now. He looks at his phone and his face goes white. Jesus Christ. Mom, what did you tell everyone? I told them I was concerned about Sarah's mental state and that the situation might be escalating. The situation you created. Car doors slam outside. Through our bedroom window, I can see Jenny getting out of her minivan, followed by Patricia and two other people I don't immediately recognize. They're here, I whisper. The doorbell rings, followed immediately by loud knocking. Jenny's voice carries through the house. David? We're here. Sandra said it was urgent. My mother moves toward the bedroom door instinctively, then stops and looks back at me. For the first time since she arrived, I can see doubt creeping into her expression. Sarah, she says quietly, before we let them in, show me everything. All of it. I grab my phone back from David and start pulling up evidence with shaking fingers. Screenshots of Sandra's requests to watch the kids. Photos of 4 children in our house, dated and time-stamped. Receipts for extra groceries, art supplies, the special gluten-free snacks Emma needs. Look at the dates, I tell her. 3 months of this. Every weekday, sometimes weekends. 8 hours a day minimum. Mom scrolls through the photos, her frown deepening. Sarah, this is a lot of children. It's full-time childcare, David says flatly. He's still holding his phone, staring at the group chat messages. And my family is outside right now because they think my wife is having a psychotic break. The knocking gets more insistent. David. We know you're home. That's Patricia's voice now. Sandra called us. Open the door. Sandra, I say into the phone, my voice deadly calm, what exactly did you tell them was happening here? Silence. Answer me. I may have suggested that you were becoming paranoid and making accusations. That you might be a danger to. A danger to who? David's voice cuts through the phone like ice. The children are my primary concern. A danger to WHO, Mom? Another pause. Then, so quietly we almost miss it, to yourself. And possibly the children. The words hit like a physical blow. My mother gasps audibly. David's phone drops from his hand and clatters on the hardwood floor. You told them I was going to hurt my children? My voice doesn't sound like my own anymore. I told them I was concerned about everyone's safety given your deteriorating mental state. Oh my God. David sinks onto the bed like his strings have been cut. Mom, do you understand what you've done? Do you understand what could happen if someone calls? He doesn't finish the sentence, but he doesn't need to. We all know what happens when someone reports that a mother might be dangerous to her children. The knocking stops, but I can hear voices on the front porch. Multiple conversations happening at once. Then Jenny's voice, clearer than the rest, maybe we should call someone. Professional help. My blood turns to ice water. David, they're talking about calling. I know. He's on his feet again, running both hands through his hair. Mom, you need to fix this. Right now. I don't know how. Figure it out. His voice cracks like a whip. You created this mess, you fix it before my wife loses her children over your lies. Through the phone, we can hear Sandra crying now. Not the delicate, manipulative tears she usually employs, but ugly, panicked sobs. I never meant for it to go this far. I wanted to help, and the money was just to cover expenses, and when Sarah started getting suspicious. You doubled down, Mom finishes grimly. You made it worse instead of coming clean. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number, *Hi, this is Rebecca from Children's Services. I received a concerning call about the welfare of children at this address. I'll be conducting a home visit tomorrow at 10 a.m. to assess the situation. The phone slips from my numb fingers for the second time today. Sarah? David's voice sounds like it's coming from underwater. What is it? I can't speak. Can't breathe. Can barely point at the phone lying face up on the floor, the message glowing like a death sentence. David reads it and goes completely white. Mom reads it over his shoulder and makes a small, wounded sound. Sandra, David's voice is barely controlled fury now, what have you done? The silence stretches for what feels like hours before Sandra's voice comes through the speaker, small and broken. I didn't call them. I swear I didn't call Children's Services. Then who did? David demands, but even as he asks, we can hear Jenny's voice carrying through the house again. I really think we need to involve professionals. For the children's sake. My stomach drops to the floor. Your family called CPS on me. David's face goes gray. He grabs his phone and starts scrolling frantically through the group chat. Here, he says, his voice hollow. Jenny texted Patricia privately, but she screenshot it to the group. Called the child welfare number. Better safe than sorry. Sandra said Sarah's been acting erratically around all 4 kids. All 4 kids. Even Jenny thinks I've been neglecting Madison and Jake by having Emma and Tyler here, because Sandra told everyone I was the one constantly asking for help, not providing it. David, you have to go out there, I say, my voice shaking. You have to explain. Explain what? That my mother has been running a childcare scam? That she's been lying about you for months? That I helped her by telling everyone you were unstable? He laughs bitterly. They'll think we're both crazy. Mom picks up my phone and reads the CPS message again. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. That's not much time to prepare. The front door opens. Someone used the spare key we gave Jenny for emergencies. Footsteps echo through the house, multiple sets, heading our way. David. Jenny calls out. We're coming up. Don't, David calls back sharply. Stay downstairs. We'll be right there. Is Sarah okay? That's Patricia's voice. Sandra said she might be having an episode. I can hear the fear in Patricia's tone, not fear for me, but fear of me. Fear of what the unstable daughter-in-law might do to those precious grandchildren. Sandra, I say into the phone, my voice deadly calm, you're going to go downstairs right now and tell them the truth. Sarah, I can't just. You can and you will. Because if I lose my children tomorrow because of your lies, I will spend every remaining day of my life making sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you are. Are you threatening me? I'm promising you. I can feel something crystallizing inside me, cold and sharp and absolutely certain. You have 10 minutes to get here and start fixing this, or I start making phone calls. Lisa first, to ask her why she thinks you've been watching her kids. Then your church friends, to let them know about your little fraud scheme. Then I'll post every screenshot, every receipt, every piece of evidence on every social media platform I can find. You wouldn't. Try me. David is staring at me like he's never seen me before, but there's something like admiration in his expression. Mom has moved to stand beside me, and I can feel her support like a solid wall at my back. Sandra, Mom says into the phone, her voice carrying the authority of 30 years as an elementary school principal, you have created a situation that could destroy this family. You will fix it, or we will. Through the phone, we hear Sandra's car door slam, then the engine starting. She's coming, David says unnecessarily. Jenny's voice drifts up from downstairs again, should we wait for Sandra? I know she wanted to be here when we talked to Sarah. Of course she did. Sandra wanted to be here to watch her plan reach its perfect conclusion, her son's unstable wife finally getting the professional intervention she so obviously needed. But Sandra made one crucial mistake. She forgot that sometimes, when you back a mother into a corner with her children's welfare at stake, she doesn't break. She fights back. She's not coming fast enough, I say, watching Sandra's estimated arrival time tick by on my phone's GPS tracker. Your family is downstairs getting more worked up by the minute, and that CPS worker will be here in less than 18 hours. David nods grimly. I can hear them talking about emergency custody arrangements. Through the thin floor, Patricia's voice carries up clearly, Jenny, did you bring those pamphlets about crisis intervention? We might need to show the authorities that we tried to get Sarah help. My blood chills. They're building a paper trail. Documentation to show CPS that the family was concerned and tried to help before Sarah became dangerous. Mom, I turn to my mother, I need you to do something, and you're not going to like it. Anything. I need you to go downstairs and record them. Use your phone. Get them talking about why they think I'm unfit, what Sandra told them, everything. Mom's eyes widen. Sarah, that feels like setting a trap? Good. Because that's exactly what Sandra did to me, except she did it over months. I grab her hands. Mom, if they take my kids tomorrow, it won't matter what the truth is. It'll matter what's documented. What's on record. David is already nodding. Sarah's right. We need evidence of what they actually believe versus what really happened. But how do I get them talking without seeming suspicious? You don't need to seem natural, I realize suddenly. You're supposed to be here for an intervention. Act like a concerned mother-in-law trying to understand the situation. Ask questions. Mom takes a shaky breath and nods. Okay. But what are you two going to do? We're going to call Lisa. David's eyebrows shoot up. Right now? Right now. Before Sandra gets here and coaches her on what to say. I'm already scrolling through my contacts. Lisa thinks Sandra has been watching her kids. When she finds out the truth, she'll be furious, David finishes. And she'll have no reason to protect Mom. Mom heads downstairs, and I can immediately hear her voice mixing with the others. Oh my, there are so many of you here. Jenny, Patricia, hello. Can someone help me understand what's been happening with Sarah? Smart. She's playing confused grandmother, not defensive mother. I dial Lisa's number before I can lose my nerve. Hello? Lisa, hi, this is Sarah. David's wife? I have Emma and Tyler's backpack and water bottles from today, and I wanted to coordinate pickup for tomorrow. Oh, hi Sarah. Actually, I've been meaning to thank you. Sandra mentioned you've been helping out when she needs backup childcare. It's so sweet of you to pitch in. My heart hammers. Backup childcare? You know, when Sandra's arthritis is acting up or she has appointments. She said you've been wonderful about taking all 4 kids for a few hours here and there. A few hours here and there. I look at David, who's listening on speakerphone, his face getting redder by the second. Lisa, can I ask? When you drop Emma and Tyler off in the mornings, where do you take them? To Sandra's house, of course. Well, to her driveway anyway. She usually meets me outside because she says the noise of car doors wakes the neighbors. Of course she does. Because if Lisa came inside Sandra's house, she'd realize the kids weren't staying there. And when you pick them up? Same thing. Sandra brings them out to the car. She's so thoughtful about keeping disruptions to a minimum. David is making strangled noises. I put a hand on his arm to keep him quiet. Lisa, this might sound like an odd question, but what time do you usually drop them off? 7:30, right before I head to work. And Sandra's always ready for them, bless her heart. Even has their breakfast planned. 7:30 a.m. Sandra takes the kids from Lisa's car, then immediately drives them to my house by 8, where I give them the breakfast I prepared. And pick up? Usually around 5:30 or 6. Sandra always has them fed and ready to go. I don't know how she manages 4 kids all day at her age, but she insists she loves it. The system is more elaborate than I realized. Sandra isn't just taking credit for my work, she's actively orchestrating a daily handoff that makes Lisa believe she's the primary caregiver. Lisa, I say carefully, hypothetically, if someone told you that Emma and Tyler were spending their days somewhere other than Sandra's house, how would you feel about that? Silence. Then, what do you mean, somewhere else? I mean, if they were being watched by someone other than Sandra, but Sandra was still collecting your payment. Sarah, what are you saying? Lisa's voice has gone sharp with concern. Are you telling me Sandra isn't actually watching my children? David closes his eyes and nods at me. It's time. Lisa, Emma, and Tyler have been at my house 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 3 months. I've been feeding them, supervising them, caring for them while Sandra collects your payment and takes credit for the work. The silence stretches so long I think the call dropped. Lisa? Are you telling me, her voice is deadly quiet now, that I've been paying Sandra to watch my children, but you've been watching them instead? Yes. And Sandra has been, what? Just dropping them off with you and leaving? That's exactly what she's been doing. The explosion of rage that comes through the phone is so loud that David and I both wince. What? Lisa's voice cracks like a whip. Sarah, are you telling me that woman has been lying to me for 3 months? That she's been taking my money while you do the actual work? That's exactly what I'm telling you. Oh my god. Do you have any idea, Sarah? I chose Sandra specifically because she's experienced with children, because she promised me individualized attention, because she swore they'd be in a structured environment. Lisa's breathing is getting harsh and rapid. I've been bragging to my coworkers about finding such amazing childcare. I turned down 3 daycare spots because Sandra convinced me her home-based care was superior. My stomach sinks. This is so much worse than I thought. Lisa, I had no idea you thought. She showed me photos, Sarah. Photos of a playroom set up specifically for Emma and Tyler. Arts and crafts stations, educational toys, a whole schedule of activities she had planned. Lisa's voice is rising with each word. Are you telling me those photos were fake? David and I look at each other in horror. What photos? I ask weakly. The ones she texted me before we started the arrangement. Her spare bedroom converted into a daycare setup. She said she'd invested in all new equipment just for Emma and Tyler because she wanted to provide the best possible care. Lisa, I've never seen Sandra's spare bedroom, but I can guarantee it's not set up for childcare. Then whose playroom was in those photos? The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. Mine, I whisper. She took photos of my playroom and told you it was hers. The silence on the other end is deafening. She took photos of your house and used them to convince me to hire her? It looks that way. Lisa makes a sound like she's being strangled. Sarah, I need to see these photos. I need to compare them to what she sent me. Can you? Actually, David interrupts, we need to do this in person. How quickly can you get here? I'm leaving work right now. 15 minutes. Her voice is shaking with fury. Sarah, if what you're telling me is true, Sandra has committed fraud. Not just lying, not just taking credit, actual fraud. I could press charges. After Lisa hangs up, David and I stare at each other in stunned silence. She's going to destroy Mom, David says quietly. Good, I snap, then immediately feel guilty. David, I'm sorry, I know she's your mother, but... No, don't apologize. You're right. His face is grim. What she did to Lisa is inexcusable. What she did to you is inexcusable. And what she's done to our family. He trails off, listening to the voices downstairs. Mom's voice carries up clearly, so Patricia, help me understand. Sandra told you that Sarah brings Madison and Jake to her house every day? Every single day, Patricia confirms. Sometimes twice a day. Sandra said Sarah just shows up unannounced and leaves them for hours. She's been worried sick about those poor babies. And did Sandra seem overwhelmed by this? Oh, constantly. She kept saying she didn't know how much more she could take, but she couldn't bear the thought of turning Sarah away when she was clearly struggling. David's jaw clenches. She's been playing the martyr with the whole family. Jenny's voice joins the conversation. The final straw was when Sandra called crying yesterday, saying Sarah had accused her of stealing money. That's when we knew Sarah was really losing it. My hands ball into fists. Even Sandra's panic damage control yesterday was calculated to make me look paranoid. But here's what I don't understand, Mom continues, bless her, if Sarah is dropping the children off with Sandra every day, why haven't I seen them there when I visit? A pause. Then Patricia, well, Sandra usually takes them to the park or library. She says Sarah needs complete breaks from motherhood to recover. How thoughtful, Mom says, and I can hear the edge creeping into her voice. And these visits happen, every day? Monday through Friday, sometimes weekends, Jenny confirms. Sandra's been exhausted. The front door slams open downstairs, and Sandra's voice cuts through everything. Where is she? Where's Sarah? Sandra, thank goodness, Patricia says. We've been waiting for you. Is everything ready for the intervention? My blood runs cold. Intervention. They're not just here to talk, they're here to stage a formal intervention, probably with prepared speeches and ultimatums. We need to get down there, David says, but before we can move, heavy footsteps pound up the stairs. Sandra appears in our doorway, her face flushed and wild, her perfectly styled hair disheveled. She looks like she drove here at breakneck speed. Sarah, we need to talk. Privately. No, David steps between us. No more private conversations. No more lies. No more manipulation. David, you don't understand the full situation. I understand that you've been committing fraud, he says coldly. I understand that you've been destroying my wife's reputation. And I understand that CPS is coming here tomorrow because of your lies. Sandra's face crumbles, but there's still calculation behind her tears. David, please, if you'll just let me explain. Car doors slam outside again. Through the window, I can see Lisa getting out of her car, her face thunderous even from 2 stories up. Your explanation just arrived, I tell Sandra. The color drains from Sandra's face as she recognizes Lisa's car through the window. You called her? Sarah, you had no right. I had every right. I pushed past Sandra toward the stairs. She's been paying you for services I've been providing. She deserves to know where her money actually goes. Sarah, wait, Sandra grabs my arm, her manicured nails digging into my skin. If you humiliate me in front of Lisa, in front of the family, I'll never forgive you. Forgive me? I yank my arm free. You spent 3 months destroying my reputation while stealing from your friends, and you're worried about forgiveness? The doorbell rings, followed immediately by Lisa's voice. Hello? It's Lisa. Sarah, are you home? From downstairs, I hear Jenny answer. Lisa? What are you doing here? We're in the middle of a family meeting. I need to speak with Sarah and Sandra immediately. This really isn't a good time, Patricia interjects. Sarah's been having some difficulties, and we're trying to help. What kind of difficulties? Lisa's voice cuts through Patricia's explanation like a knife. Sandra is practically hyperventilating behind me. Sarah, please. If you ever cared about this family at all. Don't. David's voice is ice. Don't you dare try to guilt her after what you've done. We reach the living room to find Lisa standing in the center of a circle of confused family members. She's clutching her phone in one hand and what looks like printed emails in the other. Her face is flushed with anger, and she's clearly been crying, but not sad tears. Furious ones. Sandra, Lisa says the moment she spots us on the stairs, I have some questions for you. The family members look between Lisa and Sandra with growing confusion. Jenny steps forward like she's trying to protect Sandra from an unhinged stranger. Lisa, maybe you should come back later. We're dealing with a crisis here. Yes, you are, Lisa snaps. But not the crisis you think. She holds up her phone, and I can see she has photos pulled up. Sandra, these are the pictures you sent me 3 months ago of your home daycare setup. The playroom where you promised to watch Emma and Tyler. Sandra's face goes completely white. Imagine my surprise, Lisa continues, her voice getting louder, when I just found out that these photos are actually of Sarah's house. Sarah's playroom. Sarah's toys and furniture. The silence in the room is deafening. I can see the exact moment each family member starts to realize something is very wrong. I don't understand, Patricia says slowly. Lisa, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that I've been paying Sandra $120 a week to watch my children, but Sandra has been dropping them off here every morning and leaving Sarah to do the actual childcare. Jenny's mouth falls open. That can't be right. Oh, it's right. Lisa pulls up more photos on her phone. Sarah, can you show them your playroom? The one Sandra photographed and claimed was hers? My mother, who's been standing quietly in the corner documenting everything, steps forward. Perhaps we should all sit down and... No, Lisa cuts her off. We're not sitting down until Sandra explains why she's been lying to me for 3 months while stealing my money. Sandra opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. She's looking around the room like a trapped animal, searching for an escape route that doesn't exist. Sandra? Patricia's voice is sharp with concern. What is Lisa talking about? The trap is finally springing shut, but instead of catching me, it's closing around the person who built it. The silence stretches until it becomes unbearable. Sandra is opening and closing her mouth like a fish, and I can practically see her mind racing through potential explanations that might salvage this disaster. There's been a misunderstanding, she finally manages, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah, you're confusing Lisa. The arrangement was more collaborative than you understood. Collaborative? Lisa's voice could cut glass. Sandra, yes or no, have Emma and Tyler been spending their days at your house or Sarah's house? Well, sometimes they're here, sometimes they're there. That's not an answer. Lisa steps closer to Sandra, her printed emails rustling in her trembling hand. I have every text message you've sent me for 3 months. Every single one talks about the children like you're actively watching them. You sent me photos of their lunch yesterday, a lunch that was clearly made in Sarah's kitchen, not yours. David moves to look at Lisa's phone, and his face hardens. That's our kitchen table. Those are our plates. Jenny is staring at Sandra with growing horror. Mom, please tell me you haven't been lying to Lisa. It's not lying when, Sandra starts, but Patricia cuts her off. Sandra Marie Thompson, answer the question. Have you been taking money for childcare you weren't providing? The use of Sandra's full name, the tone Patricia probably used when scolding her own children decades ago, seems to break something in Sandra. Her perfectly maintained composure finally cracks completely. I was supervising, she shouts. I was coordinating schedules and making sure Sarah had structure and purpose. Do you know what she was like after Jake was born? Sitting around the house in pajamas, crying all day? I gave her something productive to do. The words hang in the air like poison gas. Every person in the room is staring at Sandra with varying degrees of shock and disgust. You gave her something to do, Lisa repeats slowly, by stealing my money and lying to my face. I wasn't stealing. I was managing the situation. Sarah needed routine, and Lisa needed childcare, and I made it work for everyone. Everyone except Sarah, my mother says quietly from the corner. And everyone except Lisa, who thought she was paying for professional care. Sandra whirls on my mother. You don't understand. Sarah was isolated, depressed, struggling with being a stay-at-home mother. I created a solution that helped her while helping Lisa. By lying to both of them, David says, his voice deadly calm. And by telling everyone in the family that Sarah was the one constantly dumping kids on you. Because she was. She was caring for extra children, which meant she was overwhelmed, which meant she needed help managing her responsibilities. The circular logic is so twisted that for a moment, no one responds. Sandra seems to take this as encouragement. David, you came to me worried about Sarah's mental state. I took action to help while everyone else just watched her struggle. You took action to help yourself to Lisa's money, Jenny says, her voice hollow with disbelief. Mom, how could you do this? I did this for family. Sandra's voice is getting shrill now. For David's family, for those precious grandchildren who needed their mother to have purpose and stability. Lisa makes it sound like she's been physically struck. You used my children as therapy props for your daughter-in-law while stealing my money? I provided a service. Coordination, management, oversight. Oversight? I finally find my voice. Sandra, what oversight? You dropped those kids off at 8 a.m. and disappeared until pickup time. I was available by phone. That's not childcare. Lisa screams. That's abandonment with a contact number. The room erupts in chaos. Jenny is demanding explanations from Sandra, Patricia is asking David how long this has been going on, and my mother is still quietly recording everything on her phone. But through it all, one thought keeps echoing in my head, CPS is coming tomorrow morning, and this circus is exactly what they're going to walk into. The chaos in my living room is interrupted by the sound of another car door slamming outside. Through the window, I see a police cruiser pulling into our driveway. My blood turns to ice. Someone called the police? Jenny's face goes white. When I called CPS earlier, they said if we felt there was immediate danger. You called the police on me? My voice comes out as a whisper, but it cuts through all the shouting like a blade. The room goes dead silent. Even Sandra stops her frantic explanations mid-sentence. Jenny, David's voice is deadly quiet. What exactly did you tell them? Sandra said Sarah was becoming paranoid and aggressive. That she might be dangerous to the children. Jenny's voice is getting smaller with each word. The CPS operator said if there was immediate risk, we should call police for a welfare check. Through the front window, I watch 2 officers getting out of the cruiser. One is speaking into his radio, probably running our address. The other is scanning our house like he's assessing potential threats. This is perfect, Lisa says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Absolutely perfect. Sandra, do you realize what you've done? These officers are going to walk in here expecting to find an unstable mother, and instead they're going to find a woman who's been exploited and defrauded. But even as Lisa says it, I know it doesn't matter what the truth is anymore. The police don't know about Sandra's lies. They don't know about the childcare scam. All they know is that multiple family members called expressing concern about my mental state and the safety of my children. The doorbell rings. David, I grab his arm. What do we do? Before he can answer, Sandra speaks up, her voice suddenly steady and calculated again. We tell them there was a misunderstanding. Family drama that got blown out of proportion. No, Lisa steps between Sandra and the door. We tell them the truth. All of it. Lisa, please think about what you're suggesting. Sandra's voice takes on that manipulative tone again. Do you really want to involve law enforcement in what amounts to a private disagreement between friends? Private disagreement? Lisa's voice pitched higher. You committed fraud. The doorbell rings again, followed by firm knocking. Police. We're here for a welfare check. My mother moves toward the door, but I stop her. Wait. Before we open that door, I need everyone to understand something. I look around the room, making eye contact with each family member. Whatever happens in the next 10 minutes determines whether I keep my children. The weight of those words settles over everyone like a blanket. Jenny looks like she might throw up. Patricia is staring at Sandra with growing horror as she finally understands the true scope of what's been happening. If those officers walk in here and see a family in crisis, fighting about my mental stability, they're going to side with caution. They're going to see a mother who multiple family members are concerned about, and they're going to act accordingly. Sarah's right, my mother says quietly. Officers, we need just one more moment. Through the door, we hear muffled conversation between the officers. They're not going away. Sandra straightens her shoulders, and I can see her shifting back into manipulation mode. Then we need to present a united front. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. United in what? David demands. More lies? United in protecting this family's reputation, Sandra snaps. Do you want Sarah's children taken away over this? The threat is barely veiled. Sandra is betting that everyone will prioritize keeping CPS and police out of our business over exposing her lies. Lisa looks between Sandra and me, her face a mask of fury and disbelief. Unbelievable. Even now, you're trying to manipulate the situation. The knocking becomes more insistent. Ma'am, we need you to open the door. I'm opening it, I announce, moving toward the front door. And I'm telling them exactly what happened. Sarah, no. Sandra lunges toward me, but David blocks her. Yes, I say, my hand on the doorknob. Because the truth is the only thing that might save my family now. I open the door to find two officers, one male, one female, both looking professionally concerned. Behind them, I can see neighbors starting to peer out their windows. Mrs. Henderson from across the street is openly staring while pretending to get her mail. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Officer Rodriguez, this is Officer Chen. We received multiple calls expressing concern about the welfare of children at this address. Officers, please come in, I say, stepping back to let them enter. I think there's been a significant misunderstanding, and I have documentation to prove it. The two officers step into my living room and immediately assess the crowd of people staring back at them. Officer Rodriguez pulls out a notepad while Officer Chen positions herself where she can see everyone. We received calls about concerns regarding child welfare, Officer Rodriguez says. Multiple reports suggested a mother might be experiencing mental health issues that could endanger children. That would be me, I say before anyone else can speak. And yes, there have been mental health concerns discussed. But not mine. I pull out my phone and open the screenshots. Officers, for the past 3 months, my mother-in-law has been operating a childcare fraud scheme. She's been collecting payment from parents like Lisa here. I gesture to Lisa, who nods grimly, while I provide the actual childcare in my home. Officer Chen steps closer to look at my phone. Can you walk me through what you mean by fraud? Lisa jumps in. I've been paying Sandra $120 a week to watch my children. She sent me photos of what she claimed was her home daycare setup, convinced me she was providing professional care, and had me drop my kids at her house every morning. But, I continue, Sandra was immediately driving those children here, to my house, where I watched them for 8 to 10 hours a day while she disappeared and collected payment for work she never performed. Officer Rodriguez looks at Sandra. Ma'am, is this accurate? Sandra's mouth opens and closes, but Patricia steps forward before she can speak. Officer, I owe you an apology. I was one of the people who called expressing concern about Sarah's mental state. But I was operating on completely false information that Sandra provided to our family. Jenny nods miserably. Same here. Sandra told us Sarah was constantly dropping her kids off, that she seemed unstable and overwhelmed. We thought we were helping. But the reality, David says, his voice heavy with shame, is that my wife has been providing unpaid full-time childcare while my mother collected payment and destroyed her reputation as insurance in case anyone discovered the scheme. Officer Chen is scrolling through my phone, looking at timestamps and messages. These text messages show a clear pattern of you being asked to watch additional children, not requesting help with your own. Exactly. And when I started getting suspicious, Sandra escalated by calling family members claiming I was having a breakdown. She even called my mother for an emergency intervention. My mother steps forward. Officers, I drove here thinking my daughter was having a mental health crisis. Instead, I found a woman who discovered she was being defrauded and manipulated. Lisa holds up her printed emails. I have 3 months of documentation where Sandra claimed to be actively caring for my children. Photos of meals she claimed to cook, activities she claimed to supervise, all happening in Sarah's house while Sarah did the actual work. Officer Rodriguez closes his notepad. Ma'am, he addresses Sandra. This appears to be a case of fraud, not child welfare concerns. Did you accept payment for childcare services you didn't provide? Sandra finally speaks, her voice barely audible. I was coordinating the care. Managing schedules. That's worth something. That's worth a phone call, not $120 a week, Lisa snaps. And it's definitely not worth lying to me about where my children spend their days. Officer Chen hands me back my phone. Based on what I'm seeing here, the children appear to have been well cared for by their actual caregiver, you. The fraud allegations are a civil matter between the adults involved. What about the CPS referral? I ask, my heart hammering. I'll be contacting the caseworker tonight to provide context, Officer Rodriguez says. This appears to be a case of false reporting based on deliberately misleading information, not genuine child welfare concerns. The relief that floods through me is so intense I have to sit down. Sandra looks around the room at the faces staring back at her son's disappointment, her daughter's horror, Patricia's disgust, Lisa's fury, my mother's cold judgment. I was trying to help, she whispers one last time. No, David says quietly. You were trying to control. And you nearly destroyed my family doing it. Lisa steps forward with her phone already dialing. Sandra, consider our arrangement terminated immediately. And expect a call from my attorney about restitution. As the officers prepare to leave and the family members begin filing out in uncomfortable silence, David wraps his arms around me. I'm sorry, he whispers against my hair. I'm so sorry, I didn't believe you. Just promise me something, I say, watching Sandra gathering her purse with shaking hands. Anything. Next Christmas? We're hosting it here. And Sandra can explain to everyone why she's not invited. The last manipulation finally ends not with Sandra's tears or threats, but with a quiet click of our front door closing behind her. My children are safe. My marriage is intact. And tomorrow, when that CPS worker arrives, she'll find a well-documented case of false reporting instead of the crisis Sandra orchestrated. Sometimes the truth really does win.